Okay guys, fun one today. This is our little tow truck application, and you can see now when my database is slow, there's a content spinner there, and you can see that it sort of blocks the screen, although it's opaque so I can see the screen behind, but it stops me from updating things while the process is completing. And so say if I do an update to one of our tow truck operation jobs, you can see that while it's working, it blocks me from doing anything there, and then once it's completed, it returns the screen back to me. I'm your host, Sean MacKenzie. Thank you for joining me once again on my channel on data engineering. In this episode, we go back to our WebForms playlist, and we're going to take a look at how to add a content spinner to our application. Now, sometimes our application is slow, or it's slow to respond, or the database is slow to respond, and we need to be able to show the user that things are happening while they're waiting. And also, we want to be able to stop the user from clicking on other things on the screen or starting other processes while this current process completes. So a nice handy way to do this is using a Bootstrap control called Content Spinner, and that comes with our WebForms deployment, and so we're going to use that today. Let's get to it. Need time collection for your staff and contractors out in the field? Make sure to check out the additional links in the description. Okay, this is a fun one today, guys. This is our project for our tow truck operations application. There is our tow operations 48. We put 48 on the end when we converted it to .NET Framework 4.8, and it has lots of neat goodies in it, including the Bootstrap 5, which is really great for doing sort of modern web development. It's got a lot of goodies for your interface in there. It's all very cool. And if I open our default .aspx there and I hit the run button, this is sort of what we see. This is our application that we've been building, and I know lots of you guys have been building your own application off of the same kind of design, and I've been very happy to hear that. This is a neat little list. I'm running this against a local database right now, and when I move it to Azure, it will be on an Azure database. But you can see I can click around inside of our application, and I can, open and close different items in order to edit them. And what we want to do is we want to have the ability to have a spinner on screen in case the application's slow or overloaded, or the database is overloaded and it's making the application slow. And so that's what we're going to do today. It really helps the users to be able to see what's going on. Now, we've been working with this update panel that you see here. The update panel is something we put in early on, and it gives us lots of neat things to work with. Our content template is sort of everything, all the HTML that is inside of that, and ASP objects. And we've got some postback triggers that use our update panel so that there's no flickering or reloading of the screen. It sort of all happens in the background using JavaScript and stuff, and we don't need to work with that stuff. And here is the end of our content template. And you can see the content template is inside of the update panel, and so the update panel, everything that is between those start and end tags sort of happens without doing a reload or what's called a postback of the entire screen. And so it makes it nice and slick to work with. Things update on the screen without doing a reload and flicker and stuff. And so that's really awesome. But one of the things we can add to our update panel is an update progress object, and sort of along the same lines as what you see there with the triggers and the content template, we can have an update progress item, and that's an item that will show when the system is busy or it's waiting, or there's other things that you can do as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put our update progress in there, and that's going to have a start and end tag. We're going to add that ID and run at server there. Every time our update panel is doing something that takes a long time, this update progress is going to be triggered, and so we're going to be able to show something inside of that or across the whole screen, is like what we're going to do today, while the update progress is sort of processing. And so we'll put another tag inside of it. It's called the progress template, and then we're going to add some stuff. So everything inside of the progress template is what gets shown sort of on screen. So you can actually just type in there like some text, and it'll just show some text at the top of the screen if you want to show like loading ... or something. But we're going to do something even bigger here. We're going to create this div here. We're going to do a style. We're going to do some sort of inline style here, and we're just going to do our position is fixed. It's going to be text align is going to be center, and it's going to be like 100% height and width. This is going to be sort of a background object that's going to cover the whole screen. That's the first thing we're going to put, and then it's justified all the way up to the top and the right and the left, and that's going to allow us to cover the whole screen so that people are not able to use the items behind this sort of cover that we're putting up. Now, I'm not a CSS expert at all, so feel free to correct me in the comments. This is some of the stuff that I've been working with, and so we're going to use this. Now the Z index or Z index, that is sort of like the layers from sort of closest to the user to further away, and so we're going to put a really high Z index on there. That's probably not necessary, that totally high number there, but that's going to bring this right to the front of everything, and then we're going to put that background color on there, which FFF is white. So I'm going to use white. You can use a different one. You can use like 000 for black, I think, or 999, which is really dark gray. And the opacity is sort of how see-through is it. So we want to, if you want to make it really see-through, like it's just a very light see-through, then you can change that number between 0 and 1. And I've chosen 0.4. There's the start and end of our div. So that item there is going to be the thing that pops up over the screen, and it's just see-through. It's going to be like this white haze, and that's what we want for that item. And then inside of that item, we want to have a span item, and that item's going to sort of have our spinner inside of it. And so this one's going to be, it's going to have the border width of 0, and it's going to have the spinner inside of it, so it's going to be centered in the screen. And so we're going to do position fixed, and we'll put that the padding of 0, and then we're going to use the same white background as the sort of the big outer div, and we'll set that background color to hashtag FFF. Now you might be using a different color. You can actually choose them from that color picker there that popped up, and it will probably use a 6-character ID instead of the 3-character one I put in there, but both of those will work. And then we'll do our left 50% and top 50%. Now those are going to center our item in the screen. So depending on how big the screen is, if you expand it or make it smaller, those will sort of center the spinner that we're going to put inside of it. So there we go. We closed off that tag, and you can see it gave us the closing span tag there. That's what we want to see. And so now we've got a div inside of a div, and or I should say a span inside of a div. And then what we're going to do here is we'll make another div. Now this one we're actually going to call that Bootstrap item. We're going to use that spinner, and so we'll go class spinner border, and then we're going to do text primary as the sort of extension there, and then we're going to give that the role of status. And so that's going to use that Bootstrap item. You can look it up on the Bootstrap get Bootstrap page if you want. You can look up spinner dash border, and you can see how it works, and then you can change it the way that you'd like to have it there. Now I'm going to put inside of that visually hidden in case somebody needs to see this for accessibility. And so that is our entire spinner. Everything we needed to do there was in about 6 or 7 lines there, or 8 lines. There's our update progress. We've got a progress template inside of it. There is the div that will cover the whole screen. There's the div that will hold the spinner and put it in the middle, and there's the spinner itself. And that makes it so we are good to go. So we can test this out if we want to, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, unfortunately, my system was so fast that it never ever triggered the spinner, so I had to put in this little wait for delay at the start of an SQL string in the refresh list function there, or subroutine, and that's going to cause a delay. It's going to simulate a very slow system. Don't put that in your production system. Oh my goodness, your users will kill you. So I've put that in there just to make it so that our system will be slow, and what that does is it executes that statement first, and then it executes the select statement after. And so here we go. Here is our system. I've hit go on the toolbar there, and I've only got a few items here on my local database. And if I click on the wrench there, now you can see that spinner comes up, which is awesome. I can't click on anything while the spinner is there. So anything that uses that refresh list, which is just about everything on the screen here, will get this delay. And so you can see how the spinner looks, and you can test it out. And if you want to use one of your other functions, you can do that as well. And say you wanted to edit something, you could take this Honda Prelude here and change it to an NSX, and we can save that, and we should get the content spinner because that has an update. Yeah, there we go. So that is a nice little spinner. You can change the colors. You can get all kinds of different settings on getbootstrap.com. Make sure you check that out, and you can do all kinds of stuff with that spinner. And there is our Honda NSX, and that is exactly what we want to see there. That spinner is working exactly as we want. Every time the system is slow and we do something, it stops us from clicking on a button twice or something like that, and that's what we want to see. And just to take it end to end, as we do every episode in this series, we are going to publish our application out into Azure App Services in Azure, and we have our tow operations web deploy profile already selected there, and so all we need to do is hit publish, and that's going to go out into Azure, and it's going to deploy our .NET Framework 4.8 application, and that is going to be awesome. That's exactly what we want to see there. And so if we wanted to pull up another browser window, we can do that. There is our publish succeeded, and we can go ahead and check this. Now, of course, I removed the delay from the SQL statement because we do not want to see that in our actual production database, and so we're just going to test that our application is up and running here. There we go. We do our login, and we've got our MFA set up for this, and we are good to go. There is our application starting up, and that's how you can add a content spinner to your WebForms app. Looking for a nice, easy way to protect your remote desktop? Make sure to check out the additional links in the description.